Hi guys. So I'm knitting up a hat today and it's called the Celtic cable heart hat, and I can't show you the pattern because it's already out there, and it's an original design by Kristen McDonald and McConnell. Wait a minute, let me check. You can go download it. Why do I not know her name? Oh, wrong paper. Glasses would help. Wait. Hang on. I've got the pattern. And you can have it too. There's a free download. And then there's a PDF with no ads, which has a chart, color, coordinated, and everything. It's really a nice pattern. I don't know if I can show you the pattern because I download. I don't think I can. Yeah, I don't think so. But what I do know is that if you like knitting hearts and you're getting ready for Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day or just February in general, you can also download, which I think is a better deal. Pattern, I can't remember. The pattern is either $4 or $6. I'd have to go look. And it's a lot of pages. And it's written beautifully, and it's very instructive. There's a lot of cables involved. Not too hard, but just taking the time to put the cables all in color coordinated, so you can just kind of glance at them after a while and you know what you need to do. I think is cool. I have some other papers mixed in with this. Gosh, why can't I get her name? Kristen with a K. McDonald, I had it right. I always go with your gut. Okay, so Kristen McDonald made this pattern, and originally she made a Celtic cable heart scarf, and then also some really cool blocks that you can put together and make whatever you want, a wall hanging, a blanket, whatever. And then she's also got some dishcloths that are very much kind of lace dishcloths. Well, dishcloths with lace, like not lace, I want to say pearl and kind of open work too that looked really pretty. So dishcloths. And these make really good Galentine gifts, you know. Buy a nice soap for your friend and wrap up a few pretty colored heart dishcloths and you're done, and it's nice, and it's just something they don't expect. And what else? And then she added to it a Celtic cable heart hat. And she has a video tutorial out on Studio Knits, Kristen McDonald. But she has a download of a heart book, which I think is better because it's $6 and something cents, and you get all these patterns that have beautiful hearts, even beginning with a very simple um, garter stitch heart, which I'm making for my Valentine's tree. I'm taking my Christmas tree and turning it into a Valentine's tree, a theme tree, and then I'm just going to go ahead and work some border into it and play with them and color and all. And then I'm crocheting some up too that are kind of Victorian looking. So there's some cool heart shapes that you can do there. And then she's also got these really cool puffy hearts, which I'm going to use for the top of my tree, but I'm going to make a bigger one. I'm going to use bulky yarn and I think a whole lot of cotton balls. So that's what I'm making. I can't show you the pattern. I'm just doing the cast on, which is a simple long tail cast on, so that won't get me in trouble. I hope you'll go there and try this. I'm going to make one in purple, one in pink, and one in white. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm just doing a double strand or a long tail cast on. You could do any cast on you want, I guess, with this. And then she has a video tutorial. She has free pattern on her website. She also has, like I said, the download, no ads. But if you don't mind sitting by your computer and scrolling through the free, that's good too. But she really does. She really puts out so much content with beautiful designs that I prefer to buy her downloads and keep them handy in a notebook. So basically, what I will say is she's using I can't, everybody calls them different. Some of them call them like cross, cable, pearl, whatever, and some people call it back or whatever. But she's doing your basic cable stitches to create the heart where she's using like 2-1 pearl or 2-1 right crossover cable or um, 2 left or 2 right where you're knitting. You're either all you're really doing with these cables is you're either slipping off 2 stitches and carrying them to the back if it says R with a P on there, and then knitting the 2 that are on the needle, and then bringing back the 2 that are in the front and purling those so it's a crossover. Or you're doing 2L P, which means you're slipping the stitches, holding them 2 stitches to the front, and you're purling the next 2 stitches on your needle and then bringing over the other 2 and knitting those, and that creates your cable, which creates the heart. Then there's a nice twisty little heart that goes, or twisty little run through that is made with 2-1 combinations of 2L 1P, where you're slipping 2 in the front and purling 1 from the needle and putting those 2 back and knitting them, or a 2RP where 2-1 RP where you're slipping 1, holding it to the back, knitting 2 off the needle, and then bringing that 1 over and purling it. And it's all she's doing is going between left and right R's, which you're just knitting them. So, I mean, they're really easy cables. They're not really complicated. But I think all the work she's put into the texture of the hearts makes it really sweet. I'm going to count real quick. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 54, 56, 8, 60, 54. So one of the things that I always struggle with is joining without twisting and knitting a Mobius. So that's probably the hardest part of the pattern always for me. And then closing off the hat. You close off with double pointed needles, but you can close off using the magic loop method. If you have 4 double pointed needles, you can divide your stitches when it gets too tight to keep going around into 4 double pointed needles. But if you don't, well, I used to close off my hats with chopsticks when I didn't have double pointed needles. I didn't know about the magic loop. If you have a long cable, like maybe I'd say at least 38 to 40 inches, switch to a 38 to 40 inch cable. I'm using Takumi Clover Interchangeable, where you go ahead and connect them at the cable, the different length of cord and the different size of needle. So what you would do if you didn't want to use, or you didn't have chopsticks, or she uses 2 different needle sizes. So she uses a smaller needle to do the brim of the hat, and then we graduate to a larger needle. And the size she's using actually will work with chopsticks. If you have the plastic chopsticks, it would work better. But if you don't have double knit or whatever, you can do the magic loop. It's really kind of fun to do. You would still be, there's place markers involved in this pattern where you're gonna divide up your stitches into 32 after you start doing all the rows. And then when you get to decrease, you'll be decreasing evenly down to 8 stitches, and then fasten off with cutting your yarn and running your yarn through the hole of your hat, closing it off. I sometimes drop a whole lot, or I get like gappy around the top of the hat with double pointed needles, but I do not get that way doing the magic loop. So the magic loop involves using a longer cable, and you're basically splitting your stitches in the middle and making them even. Like, you kind of like hold this down like this and do this, and you would pull this out like this, but it would be a longer one, right? And then you'd be working with these and pulling one needle out all the way and turning it and continuing to work that way. So you could technically do the magic loop. If you hear any noise, it's my neighbor downstairs having a hissy fit. I think his mom is trying to clean his room, or tell him to clean his room, or wake the frick up and clean his room. Anyways, oh, it's been rough with having grown-ass kids home forever, right? I'm laughing, but no, it's been hard. It's been really hard. This whole pandemic has been hard. I got my booster yesterday, and I'm trying to work through it. I'm immunocompromised, so I don't have a thymus gland, and I have some autoimmune things that make me compromised. So I have to get all the shots that I should get, right? But more than anything, I want to be fully vaccinated so I can finally see my kids, who I haven't seen in 3 years. And I want to be able to travel and see them. And so hopefully can find a way to meet up, and maybe even my dad. And they're all in different states. And so, if we could get us together just to be able to see my nuclear family finally, because there is no other family. that would be nice, because 3 years without seeing any family is a little bit much. And I know it's hard on my kids and it's hard on me. And um, so I want to be fully vaccinated to make sure I can travel if I need to. And so I went for my booster yesterday, but I was really worried about it because I have compression issues from thyroid nodules, which I have some new ones that are swelling really bad. I have a new one over here, and I have a new one right here that has gotten bigger. And so last time I talked to the endocrinologist, oncologist, that was 2 years ago. He was like, like right before the pandemic, he was like, we need to do the surgery because you're going to have compression issues. And I was like, no, let's wait. I'm having compression issues. So it doesn't matter how much medication I take or what I do. There's no rhyme or reason. I just swell and get more. And these can go all the way up into my eustachian tubes, and I can't hear anything. I can't swallow well. Food's not getting below here. I'm scared. It's been really hard. So I don't want to get something that sets up in your throat like Omicron and swells the throat because I swell. I mean, if I get sick with anything, it makes these swell to begin with, and I'm really in trouble. So I went to get my booster, and I had like tried to talk myself out of it a bajillion times, and I wrote about this yesterday because I mean nobody wants to go feel worse, get sick at all, even for a minute. Um, um, and then there was this thought that kept going through my head, like, well, what's the end game here? How long is this going to go on? Because Israel is already on their fourth shot, and the CDC keeps going back and forth with immunocompromised need to get your first 2 shots was good for 6 months, but originally they said 8 months, but now it's no good. So within 6 months, immunocompromised and older people needed, it looks like, the booster, or no, the third shot, and then a booster. And then in 6 months, um, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, a fourth shot for immunocompromised, and then a booster. That makes 6 shots. So, Elizabeth Cohen, CNN senior correspondent, was trying to explain that today to John Berman on New Day, how the CDC, how people that are immunocompromised are getting, notes from their doctor to bring to the pharmacist saying, I want them to have a fourth shot. And the pharmacy's like, we don't do that. We don't know what you're talking about. And even for the third shot, they're like, we're doing boosters. So everyone's still trying to get on board. And I really was thinking about this, how this could go on forever. I like the way Spain is approaching it, or thinking of approaching it, which is an endemic kind of approach. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said, if we were to treat this like a flu, every new variant, and then only insist that people get vaccinated that are in areas where there's community spread, and hospitals are being overrun by, and people are getting it, then there might be an end to this. And you wouldn't have to keep closing down stuff and travel and this and that and everything else and all the masks and everything. So that's how you get it to an endemic, but we're looking at spring still. And if everybody opens up in spring and runs around cuckoo crazy again, and you still have people that have not been vaccinated, that mingles with people that vaccinations are waning off, so that getting together with the crowd again, germs mingling, makes a whole new variant again. So I hope we get to the point where it's an endemic, because nobody likes having to go get shots. I went at 11:30 yesterday. I could say this booster. I was shopping for about 2 hours afterwards. I would say about 2, 3 hours after I could feel it hitting me. I was like, ooh, which was a good thing though, because I'm like, okay, my immune system's working because my thymus gland was taken out when I was 9.5 years old. So I didn't make a lot of T cells that matured and got all the weaponry they needed and learned to do what they needed to do. So my doctor and I have talked about that. Although I made T cells, it's like going into the military with a troop with less ammunition or already wounded or just young and they don't know what to do. So you don't have as strong a group of uh, T cells fighting for you. And then if you got autoimmune stuff happening in your body, you're already fighting your own cells. So I didn't want to get any more shots. I was like, 2 shots, I'm done, I'm good. I remember when my doctor said, 2 shots, you're 100%. And I was like, yay. But then I also remembered when I got my second shot, the lady that gave that shot to me said, can I see your card? And I was like, why are there so many lines on the card and on the back too? She said, oh, there'll be more shots. I said, really? And nobody was talking about it at that point. It was like April. And so, oh yeah, there's going to be boosters for every variant. And I can understand Eric Clapton saying, this is no way to go, because he felt like everything that happened after he got his jab or whatever in his body flared up. That was, excuse me 1 second. So yesterday I posted while I was getting boosted that I was getting boosted, and I really don't understand Eric Clapton's mass formation hypnosis theory, but I know where it comes from. But I think because of, and this is just a good example of, he may be under the mass formation hypnosis himself without even realizing it. Or if you want to call it that, it's not even a real thing. It's more like a psychogenic thought. It's sort of like a hysteria. It's just attaching yourself to a theory and having a like experience and then attaching a meaning to it. So what Eric Clapton was saying is, look, he had an underlying condition with his back. And he was getting it worked on. But it seemed like everything in his body flared up worse after he got the jabs. And then he came along, this kind of pseudo psychiatrist who's running this theory of mass formation hypnosis. And it really made sense to him. He couldn't deny that he was sicker afterwards and it's not gone away. I can understand what he's saying because each time I have gotten a vaccination, it has kind of flared up everything in me that I don't even know if I can say vaccination out here. It has flared up everything every time I've gotten the V. It is, or the B. Or it has kind of flared up everything in me. But I think that's just your immune response. I really do. Because it doesn't stay. Excuse me 1 second. So anyways, I made a post yesterday about Eric Clapton. I'm not hating on him. I can understand where he could come up with his theory. There's a lot of theories out there. I just think that when you have such a large platform, you need to be careful of how many people are listening, because there are people with psychiatric conditions, emotional problems, that feeds right into their natural thinking, is that, ooh, the government is putting something into us and diluting us and subliminal this. advertisement is that. That's true. Media and advertisement, that's full of subliminal stuff. The more you hear something, the more you believe it. All this is true, cause and effect. But there are people that are very sensitive to somebody controlling their mind, that thought to begin with. So, and then something being in their body. There are people that believe they already have stuff that's been inserted into their body, and they will cut themselves up to try to get it out. So that's why it just annoyed the fucks out of me to have Eric Clapton. I understood he did a great interview where he explained, look, I had an underlying illness, but it wasn't debilitating. After I got the two, it got worse. I'm not for or against vaccinations. I'm just telling you my experience in that I wandered onto this mass formation hypnosis. Well, mass formation hypnosis is not a real thing. It's actually a form of hysteria or psychogenic. Um, you could say that people that are in a church that are all speaking in tongues or going up into a healing line and falling over are under a mass formation hypnosis too. Or you could say it's psychogenic, or you could say it's, if it was medical or psychiatric, you could say it's an iatrogenic response. But I just felt, since he has such a large platform and so many people do follow him, that to clarify. Neil Young is out there removing his music from Spotify because Spotify is anti-V. So, I mean, everybody's got an opinion about this. I had a fever last night that I don't even want to tell you. All I will say is I'm still not quite, and they tell you you might have a few days. Stay hydrated. Get what you need done ahead of time. Plan on bunkering down for a couple days. I know it's hard for some people. You got a lot of kids, you got work. They're giving people time off, PTO to get vaccinated. Um, so I'm just taking the next couple days and just knitting and sipping water and then going back to sleep and then knitting and sipping water. So, if you want to get this pattern, it's and I'll show you it when it's done. I'm going to make one in purple, white, and pink. Um, and then I'm going to try to make as many as I can to hang in bags and put in a tree down by where I live, where we're allowed to put them there on a hanger or in a Ziploc bag, and just tell people a little note like hearts knit together in love, take a hat, stay warm, that kind of thing. Because there's always people that are out there shoveling and walking that get their heads get wet or they lose their hat or whatever. It's just a nice thing to do. So, that's what I'm doing. And I just wanted to say, get boosted, get V, get your V, get your booster. Or do what you have to do for your long-term health. For me, I'm doing this so that I can eventually see my kids again and travel. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm like stuck in a hotel somewhere in a strange place and I can't, get to them. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Stay healthy. Bye.